It's time to take the guesswork out of what to eat after cancer. Hey, Dr. Amy here. You know, there are so many myths around food and cancer. Even some of the most brilliant cancer thrivers fall victim to these myths, and I don't want you to do the same. Let's put an end to this once and for all so you feel safe and confident in your body after cancer. In this video, I'm sharing with you 4 cancer-fighting recipes. These are my favorite. These recipes have been proven to lower your risk of cancer and a cancer recurrence. Plus, they'll help you recover from cancer treatment faster. You can find the recipes for all 4 of these dishes in the description below. Okay, so this first recipe is one I get asked about all the time. Homemade breakfast sausage. Now, there's been a very clear link between the consumption of processed meats and the risk of cancer. The scientific evidence is from large epidemiological studies, which look at large groups of people. These studies have shown that the more processed meat you eat, the higher the risk of cancer. And yes, epidemiological studies do have their flaws, but this is the best literature we currently have in terms of guiding you on your risk of cancer. Processed meat has been found to increase the risk of breast cancer, colon cancer, colorectal cancer, and lung cancer. So this is where it becomes very important to focus on the type of meat you're eating rather than eliminating meat altogether. This is why a homemade breakfast sausage recipe is a must to include. It uses simple ingredients plus a combination of powerful spices to give you that really distinct breakfast sausage taste. Start by stirring all the spices together and mixing them thoroughly. Place the ground turkey in a medium-sized mixing bowl and add the spice mixture to the turkey. Combine using either your hands or a fork. Now, if possible, it's best to cover the bowl and leave it to sit for an hour in the refrigerator or overnight. This is how the flavors really come together. If you don't have time for that, that is okay. It will still be very tasty. Now, the great thing about this recipe is that you can choose to make sausage patties or you can do a sausage crumble. If you choose to make patties, then portion out the meat into 8 different balls. Press them into patties until they're about 1/4 inch thick. Now place them in a pan and cook them over medium heat for about 4 to 5 minutes until flipping and cooking on the other side. You'll want to make sure they're cooked through. Now, if you want to make a crumble, that's simple too. All you need to do is put the meat in the pan and heat and cook until it's cooked all the way through. Okay, but this next recipe is also a breakfast option, and it's family friendly and it's packed with protein. Protein waffles. Now, these waffles contain ingredients that you probably already have in your house. Plus, we're gonna add in some nutritious ingredients so your entire family gets healthier. That's all thanks to you. In a mixing bowl, you're gonna put in 1/2 cup of egg whites. Egg whites are almost all protein, no fat. Now, there's nothing wrong with eating whole eggs. I'm just using egg whites in this recipe to try to bump up the protein while keeping the overall calorie count low. Because of this, I'm only going to use egg whites. Next, add 60 grams of cottage cheese. That's about 1/4 cup, and be sure to pick low-fat cottage cheese. You can pick a 1% or a 0% fat. Again, this is going to keep these waffles mostly protein while minimizing the calories. Now, a client that I work with in the Cancer Freedom Program, she really didn't like eggs, and she definitely didn't like cottage cheese. The texture is weird. She just didn't like it. Now, of course, she knew that these ingredients were high in protein, but if you don't like how they taste, that's tough. Well, this recipe is an easy way around that. When you blend all these ingredients together, you won't even notice that you're eating cottage cheese and eggs. Next, you're gonna add 40 grams of oatmeal. What you're gonna do is take about 1/2 cup of oatmeal, put it in a food processor, and grind it up until it becomes like a flour consistency. Fiber has been linked to lowering your risk of a cancer recurrence, so by adding ground oatmeal, we're bumping up the fiber. Okay, and the last ingredient is a scoop of protein powder. This is a 30-gram scoop, and we're gonna add it in to add a lot more protein. Then add in about 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now that you have all these ingredients in a bowl, take a spoon and mix this up completely. You can use a food processor or a hand mixer to make sure that your batter is really smooth. Then once smooth, pour it into a waffle iron. You can also make pancakes with this recipe if you don't have a waffle iron. Cook them up until they're light and crispy golden brown. Now, there is magic in choosing the toppings for these waffles. You've made this amazing high protein, cancer fighting waffle You do not want to mess it up by picking the wrong toppings. Here's what I want you to do. Put a serving of berries on top. Now, of course, ideally, you would have fresh berries. That would be great. But in my house, the fresh berries do not last very long. My kids eat them up so fast, so I always have a bag of frozen berries in the freezer. When you thaw these frozen berries, the juices make a great syrup. But there's really a strategic reason why I'm picking berries. It's because of the fiber and the antioxidants. To strategically lower your risk of a cancer recurrence, we want to increase your fiber and your antioxidant intake, and berries will do both. Okay, now this next recipe is great for lunch or dinner. It's quinoa salad. Now I want you to build the foundation of this salad with dark leafy greens. This can be something like spinach or spring mix. Make sure you pick a dark leafy green blend from your grocery store. You want the antioxidants from those greens. After cancer and cancer treatment, we know you're low in antioxidants, so we want to be intentional here. Now the second thing we're gonna add is chickpeas. Chickpeas are a great source of protein. The balance of protein to carbs to fat is incredibly important for cancer survivors. And this is where a lot of cancer survivors go wrong. They do not eat enough protein. By adding in chickpeas, which is a great plant-based protein source, you're actually changing the balance of carbohydrates to protein in this salad. But we have to take it a step further. Many cancer survivors actually don't go far enough with this. We can't just add chickpeas in and call it a day. We actually have to add in another protein source. So here, we're actually gonna add in feta cheese. But there's something very particular about this specific feta cheese. It's still high in protein, which is exactly what we need, but there's something unique here. There's been recent literature to show that full fat or high fat dairy actually increases the risk of a breast cancer recurrence. So you'll want to select low fat dairy options. This can be 1% or 2%, but whatever you're selecting, make sure it's a lower fat option. This feta cheese is a great example. It's still high in protein, but low in fat, so we're gonna add it into this salad. Now, this is a big mistake that a lot of cancer survivors make that actually completely ruins a cancer-fighting salad. They build the base with dark leafy greens. They add in protein, they add in veggies, and then they completely destroy their salad. Then they add in this, a high-fat, high-sugar dressing. We're going to avoid adding in salad dressing altogether. But don't worry, the salad is still gonna taste amazing. Let me show you how. After cancer, many women struggle with a low appetite or an aversion to certain flavors. They find that things just don't taste the same. Maybe even water doesn't taste the same anymore. So to overcome these taste aversions, we're going to add in fresh lemon and fresh herbs. It tastes amazing. Combine that with a low-fat feta cheese and add on to the salad. This is a great option for cancer survivors. Now, shifting gears here slightly to actually target chemo brain or brain fog after cancer. If you have chemo brain or brain fog, you are so not alone. Many women struggle with these issues, and we can actually start to correct them with your food. We need to increase the amount of flavonoids in your nutrition. This will actually support your cognitive ability and reduce the amount of chemo brain or brain fog. A great and an easy way to add more flavonoids to a salad is to add onions. Onions are rich in flavonoids. They'll help you overcome this challenge with chemo brain. Now, looking at this salad, it's starting to look really yummy. But we need to boost up the amount of fiber in this salad. In North America, we just do not eat enough fiber in our diets, and that increases our risk of cancer. When we look at cultures that typically eat higher amounts of fiber, they actually have lower cancer rates. So in order to do that, we need to bump up the fiber in this salad. There's a simple way to do that. I want you to add in chopped up broccoli. Broccoli is a great source of fiber and antioxidants. This is really the easiest way to bump up fiber for a cancer survivor. Just eat more vegetables. Plus, you're gonna get the benefits of the different micronutrients and vitamins that come with eating broccoli. Okay, and then just a few more key ingredients that we want to add to this salad. Typically, we would add something that has a crunch or a texture to a salad. Adding in chopped up almonds is going to give you that surprise and crunchy texture. But we want to be careful because not all nuts or seeds are really beneficial for cancer survivors, but almonds are a great choice. Don't overdo it though. Many women mistakenly think that almonds are healthy, so they add a bunch to their salad. But we need to keep your ratios right. Now, the last thing we need to add in, and probably one of the most important, is quinoa. Quinoa is great because it's high in protein. When I was going through cancer treatment myself, I struggled to get in enough protein, and quinoa was a really helpful option. We're gonna mix it in, and that's really gonna pull this entire salad together. It's delicious, it's a staple for your cancer recovery, so go ahead and make this salad tonight. Okay, so now something that's a bit more fun and definitely family friendly. Black bean brownies. Cancer fighting brownies. These are super easy to make. They're packed with protein, and they make a great dessert for cancer survivors. Using an immersion blender or a food processor, blend all the ingredients together. Then place them in a 9x9 cake pan. Bake at 350 for 40 to 45 minutes. Cook until it's ideally a little gooey in the center. Once they're cooled, then remove them from the pan and sprinkle a little bit of cocoa powder on top. Divide into 8 pieces and serve with your favorite berries on top. And that's it. It's really that simple. Okay, so now that you know about these 4 cancer-fighting recipes, the next thing you might be wondering is how else I can support my cancer recovery. That's exactly why I'm linking up this next video here on how I beat cancer in 100 days. Click the link here and I'll see you in the next video.